this is StopFake News.
Today we celebrate the first anniversary since our project launching.
On the 2nd of March of the last year, website StopFake.org appeared containing the first disproofs of some fake news.
The project exists due to the common efforts of volunteer journalists with financial assistance by our audience and readers.
This time we decided to recollect the first fake news that heralded our project.
We believe it really vital as many mass media representatives seem to have abandoned their fruitful journalistic activity and dedicated their minds and efforts for the sake of propaganda spreading all over the seeds of hate.
We desire peace and call everyone upon not falling for the propaganda. In spring of the last year, Russian media as well as news agencies did their utmost to convince their audience that fascists and nationalists had come to power in Ukraine to disregard Russian language and refuse to hold the memory of the victory over fascism, as well as that the shift of power in Ukraine led to insecurity for Jewish community. In March of the last year, Russia's news agency RIA Novosti reported that the 8th of March, the 1st of May and the 9th of May would lose their state-holding status in Ukraine, referring to a large Ukrainian parliament source. Ukraine's Minister of Culture, Mr. Nishuk, stated no such bills had been ever projected and adopted at the same time as core mass media, including live news, told that the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine meant to revoke the city of Kyiv with its hero city title. This probably was also meant to make the audience believe that Ukraine was dishonoring the fallen during the Second World War, but this also appeared to be a fake that could not be supported by any evidence.
Apart from it, Russian mass media launched a campaign aimed at providing the Russian language was much disgraded and oppressed in Ukraine. Russian news agency Itartas, giving a reference to an unknown source under Ukraine's Cabinet of Ministers, published an article warning that Alexander Turchinov had instructed the bodies of Ukraine government authorities to delete all Russian versions of their official website. However, the point is that in most cases, such structures appear to have no Russian language-based websites, and Turchinov's administration had never given such an order. Citing a like source familiar with the situation in the Verkhovna Rada, Russian news agency RIA Novosti reported that Ukraine was considering a bill on switching to Latvian alphabet. However, the Committee on the Language Development and the Use in Ukraine bill refuted the information. The 4-year passed, but there have been no attempts to introduce Latin alphabet to substitute the Cyrillic.
Russian broadcaster Russia 1 went even further and claimed that leader of Ukrainian party Svoboda Freedom Oleg Fignebok had offered to introduce criminal prosecution for Russian-speaking populations in Ukraine and then they should not be given citizenship in Ukraine.
This morning, one of the nationalist leaders, leader of Ukrainian party Svoboda, announced an intimidating statement. He suggested in particular that Russian language be banned and criminal liability for speaking Russian should be introduced. Sounds really scaring.
And that's what he said in fact.
I am emphasizing once again that we, together with the representatives of ethnic minorities, will have to take part in elaborating and adopting a new language law in Ukraine in the near future that will meet everyone's needs, and I assure you that no national minority will be ever oppressed, including concerning the language issue.
Russia sent TV released a report telling about the flight professor in Kharkiv. He was allegedly forced to lecture Russian language and literature in Ukraine. However, it's a lie. First of all, there have been no such orders. So far, the Russian language and literature are lectured at the university in Russian. Secondly, the professor in focus used to teach foreign and classic literature and was given a sack for the other reasons back in 2013.
Russian mass media also released a number of fake videos that were meant to prove the expansion of anti-Semitic moves in Ukraine. For instance, Russia Today posted a report showing a rabbi allegedly escaping from Kyiv to save his and his family's life. Somebody wrote on his synagogue's door, "Died Jew."
An unknown man drawing the swastika, sign on the synagogue doors. His message, "Died Jew," is terrifying.
I don't want to live, I am pushed to live. I want my children to feel safe.
This story was meant to demonstrate the large expansion of national socialism in Ukraine. However, this would happen not in Kyiv but in Simferopol. Immediately after men in green or polite people, namely the military of the Russian Federation, occupied the peninsula, the major rabbi in Ukraine, Yakov Doblai, also mentioned this fact. Within Ukraine's independence, no cases of intolerance toward Jewish community was ever fixed in the Crimean Peninsula. The first reference to Jew intolerance case appeared after Russian forces' expansion of the peninsula.
Let's also recall the sensational story about the crucified boy. July the 12th, Russian Channel 1 released an interview report with some Galina Pushniak, who represents herself as a refugee from the Ukraine city of Slavyansk. She tells in particular about Ukraine soldiers entering the city and gathering all local populace at the main local square and allegedly carrying out a public execution of a wife and a young son of one of the insurgents. Moreover, according to the reports, protagonist, the boy would be crucified on a bulletin board, while the woman was fastened upon a tank and dragged along the street to death. All local populace reportedly witnessed the bloody show.
In other words, it was a public execution. They took a 3-year-old boy wearing nothing but underwear and crucified him like a Jesus on the bulletin board. 2 guys were holding him while another one was nailing him, and the mother was made to watch it. The poor woman saw her son bleeding and heard him screaming. Also, they made additional cuts on his body.
But there is no video, no picture that would prove the certification case. Also, according to Mrs. Galina, many people witnessed the bloody execution. Besides, locals of the city of Slavyansk themselves refuted the fact.
It has been a long and exhausting year. We're expressing our gratitude to everyone who has provided their constant support and assistance and joined our struggle against fake news by mass media.
As we have an anniversary, we would like to ask you for a gesture of gift to share our video report in social media.
To remind, StopFake News is a volunteer project, therefore we would be grateful for any sort of financial assistance. More information about it is available on our website stopfake.org or below this video.
We hope that someday there will be no grounds to continue our work, but it's too soon to predict anything.
Therefore, we'll be back in a week. See you.